Alright guys, welcome back to this channel. So right now tensions are really rising in Japan, and we have some reports that are so much shocking, and it's surfacing about hostility towards the black residents and visitors in Japan. So what is really happening on the ground? Why are some claiming that black people are being pushed out, and how are others responding to these claims? So guys, let me roll these clips. I'll be coming back with more commentaries, and in case of any thoughts, kindly feel free to let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, stay tuned.
I think anybody who's willing to be honest with themselves and has spent significant time in any anime space, either online or in person, I think they can verify that the anime community can be pretty racist. And that's not just coming from like black cosplayers getting comments like, oh, this character isn't black. But even within the representations of black or darker skinned people in anime, for example, this, whatever the fuck this, this, the list goes on. That's not to say there's no good depictions of black people in anime. This little grid was online with some depictions of darker skinned anime characters that were done well, but unfortunately, the majority of them are still pretty bad. And a lot of people do ask why this is, and the general answer that people go for is that Japan is not that diverse. There's not many black people in Japan, and these mangakas just don't bother to do any research on how to draw black people. But I think that's the easy answer, and there's some historical nuance to this. I mean, sure, they might not see any black people, but it's not like they just drew an anime character and just made the skin dark and didn't think about, oh, hair texture and features. No, these oftentimes include a lot of tropes that come straight out of, I don't know, antebellum period America.
Now, what's pissing me off so much with this kind of video is that nowhere in the video or caption does it state which Japanese party actually made this video. And it's not the first time that I see fake news like this on social media. But I feel like nowadays people on social media are so focused on trying to increase the tension between Japan and foreigners. Like they are creating so many rumors and so many people are believing it. Most of the people hating on foreigners living in Japan are people who don't even live here. And even though, yeah, the current government doesn't really like foreigners, and even though they have said some pretty outrageous things about foreigners, they have not yet gone out of their way to make this kind of video. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump had posted something like this. But this video is literally fan made. It is made by some random person living in their mama's basement. And the worst part is that everybody's believing it. And instead of saying how outrageous this video is, people are actually trying to back up the creator of the video, saying things like, no, this is exactly what it is. This is the current reality of Japan. If Japan doesn't do anything now, they're gonna just be filled with immigrants and they're just gonna have Indians and Africans taking over with their big families. But let me be the first to tell y'all that they are really making it seem worse than it actually is. Also, people are saying that immigrants are taking over Japan, but I beg to differ, and it is not a immigration issue, but it is a over tourism issue, and it's not even an over tourism of Japan issue. It's really an over tourism of these saturated hotspots like Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. But that's a conversation for another time.
I mean, just look at the fact that there's this mascot that is straight up Pickaninny style, and it is Japanese. So I think part of the reason you see that kind of like the outline with the lips and like the no eyebrows, that kind of thing, comes from the way that Japan was exposed to Black people. And it did not start with World War II. Um, Japan had ongoing trade with Portugal for a great period of time before they would trade with any other Westerners. And I actually learned that today when I Googled it, Piccanini comes from likely a butchering of the Portuguese word for Pinquite, I think it was just like small, little, whatever. And so the importation of those style of products to Japan did occur, and especially occurred in the mid to late 1800s when Commodore Matthew Perry from America broke down Japan and was like, hey, I demand to trade. Also, side note, this is how they depicted him. I just think it's kind of funny. But yeah, so unfortunately, in the 1800s, minstrel shows were still pretty popular, and they were something that did happen on ships with sailors and other like performers who traveled around to entertain soldiers. This is actually a Japanese depiction of one of those minstrel groups, and if you look closer, you can see that they are white people in blackface. So obviously we've established that this kind of racist imagery has been exported to Japan for quite some time. And on top of that, there were certain Western intellectual ideas that Japan embraced during the Meiji Restoration era. They were trying to modernize, and then they thought modernization meant Westernization. So they took a lot of Western ideas and technologies and applied them to their own context. One of those was social Darwinism. They did a little special take on it where they had Japan at the top, and but it was still this idea of race. And obviously, race is something that is man made. And, like, just look at the way Japan treated other Asians. They didn't think, oh, Asians, we're all Asian, Asian unity. They're like, Japan special, we're at the top. But with social Darwinism, it obviously comes the idea that white men are up here and black men are down here. And so America has been pretty, I don't know if I'd say, I don't want to say responsible because that sounds like I'm excusing Japan on this, but they have encouraged the spread of racial hierarchies that, even if Japan takes it and says, oh, if white men are at the top and black men are at the bottom, Japanese men are above white men, it's still, exporting that idea. And you can really see that in the wake of World War II. So after Japanese surrendered, there were a lot of like comfort women, prostitutes, just people who were either destitute and just had to do whatever they could to get by. And
As you continue watching, guys, in this video we are here to break down this situation. We are here to explore the cultural, the social, and even the political factors at play. And let's, guys, examine these reactions from both locals and the global community. Is this a case of misunderstanding? Is it a case of media exaggeration or something deeper that needs urgent attention? So, guys, I'm coming back with more commentaries and we are going to highlight the real experiences. We are going to discuss Japan's history with diversity and ask the bigger question that how do societies handle race? How do societies handle inclusion and change in today's world? So, guys, just watch till the end and get the full picture and decide for yourself. Let's get into these clips and tell me what do you think about this situation. Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments, and also don't forget to like, subscribe, and also turn on notifications for more deep dives into global issues and trending topics. Let's get into the clips. I'll be back.
You are no longer welcome in Japan. Yeah, cancel that girls trip. You see, unfortunately, Japan, similar to many other countries right now, are entering a very far-right, anti-foreigner stage in their society right now. And well, they are absolutely taking it to the max. To be specific, this far-right movement within Japan has actually been sweeping the nation over the past year, but has only been amplified due to the influx of tourists. Now, Japan and many other Asian countries are infamous for not being too kind to foreigners, but there has been a mass increase of reports from foreigners within Japan detailing the increased racism that they are experiencing because of the rise of the far right. Many shops are now flat out putting signs saying no foreigners, no black people, Japanese only, which was once the irregularity but is now becoming the normality. And of course, as you can imagine, some people have actually called the police in these instances, and of course the police don't do anything. This is not the West. So please, if you are a foreigner or someone that is obviously not Japanese and you're planning to go to Japan, be aware of this new fact. Be aware of the sociopolitics that's clearly happening and affecting the country. And for your sake, plan ahead.
Welcome to Japan Racist News. Recently, there has been an anti-immigrant movement in Japan.
The Japanese government at the time, whatever group that they formed after the emperor surrendered, they formed this commission for the Western recreation of American soldiers, and they were scared that these American soldiers would come and assault the pure Japanese women, and so they had a group of women that they already viewed as tainted, who were either comfort women, prostitutes, or poor women, and they would designate them to be the sexual service for American soldiers. But even within that, there was a racial divide. If a Japanese woman serviced a black man, she was then no longer allowed to service a white man. that's how the American military wanted it. They did not like that racial mixing. And that's also kind of why I hate when people say, oh, it's not all about race. Why do black people try to find a problem in everything? Like, it is about race. I mean, my mom can remember when desegregation happened in schools. Like, the prevalence and just the deep rootedness of anti-blackness and the way it has been exported all around the world is very real and very harmful. And trying to pretend that that's not the reality that we live in, that's just burying your head in the sand. And so this is just kind of going to try to give some depth to the questions about like why there are this type of visual trope and racist depictions in Japanese media. And I think that this kind of framework can be applied to a lot of different Asian countries who, frankly, are oftentimes don't deal with very many citizens that are not of their specific ethnic group or racially Asian. And so when they do see these outsiders or foreigners or whatever, they're drawing upon what they do know. And a lot of it does come from racist Western depictions.
I believe Japan is a homogeneous country. As a pure Japanese, I can say this. They can't assimilate into Japanese society. Go back to your country.
But Ken-san, let's look at history. Japan has never been truly homogeneous.
What are you talking about?
People were already living in Japan more than 10,000 years ago. They were called the Jomon people.
My ancestor.
Then, more than 2,000 years ago, many refugees came from China to Japan. They were called the Yayoi people. This is what they looked like. It looked just like you. Yayoi people look like Ken Suzuki. Your ancestors were immigrants or Chinese refugees.
Are you kidding me?
Ken-san, go back to your country.
Meshita-san, shut the fuck.
Is there racism in Japan? Are Japanese people racist?
Someone just tagged me to this video and I watched the whole thing and I agree with 80% of the things that she says. However, at the end, she makes a point that if you follow the Japanese rules and if you respect Japanese culture, Japanese people would love you and treat.
So guys, something unusual is happening, and it's happening in Japan. People around the world are starting to notice that there are growing claims that black residents and visitors are facing increased hostility, with some even saying that they feel pushed out. But is this the full story, or is there more beneath the surface? Guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are diving into this topic that is sparking intense debate online. Yes, reports and conversations are emerging about this rising tension involving black people in Japan, ranging from the social exclusion to the uncomfortable encounters. But before jumping to conclusions, we need to break this down very carefully. Guys, we need to break down this respectfully and truthfully. Guys, we are seeing across social media, some black travelers and even residents have been sharing their experiences. They describe moments of being stared at, moments of being avoided, or even treated differently in public spaces. Others are claiming that there is a growing sense of discomfort, like they are no longer as welcome as before. So some posts go even further, suggesting that there is pressure for black people to leave certain areas or avoid specific environments. So now these claims are serious, but they also vary widely depending on who you ask. Yes, so Japan has long been known as culturally homogeneous society. Unlike countries with long histories of multiculturalism, Japan's population has remained relatively uniform for many generations. And because of this, it's not uncommon for foreigners, regardless of race, to stand out. What some interpret as hostility, others argue maybe curiosity, or maybe unfamiliarity, or even maybe cultural distance. But here is the key question: where do we draw the line between cultural difference and discrimination? it is very much important to understand that experiences are not universal. Some black individuals living in Japan say that they feel safe, that they feel respected and even welcomed. Yes, so others, however, they always share very different stories, ones that highlight discomfort and exclusion. So this contrast creates confusion. And is the situation getting worse, or are these experiences simply becoming more visible? Yeah, that is why we appreciate the social media. Thanks to social media, and in today's world, one viral story can shape global perception overnight. And as this conversation spread, people worldwide are reacting, and some are expressing concern and even calling for more awareness about racial issues in countries often seen as quiet on these topics. So others are pushing back. They are saying the narrative is exaggerated or even lacks context. And then there are those asking an even bigger question: are we finally having more honest conversations about race on a global scale? So this is not just about Japan, guys. It is about how different cultures handle diversity, how they handle change and even inclusion. And as travel increases and the world becomes more connected, these interactions are becoming more frequent and more complex. Yes, so no country is perfect. Every society has its own challenges when it comes to understanding people who are different. Yes, and the real issue is how those challenges are addressed. Yes, so what do you think, guys? Is this a case of misunderstanding or something that deserves more attention? Have you experienced or witnessed anything like this yourself? Yeah, let's keep this conversation respectful and real in the comments, guys. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of this video. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications for more discussions on global issues that matter. Until next time, guys, stay informed, stay aware and stay open-minded.